A very good morning to all of you. I'm so happy to welcome you all to day 2 of the Conscious Woman Summit. Would love to know how everyone is feeling this morning. We're so glad you're spending your precious Saturday weekend morning with us. How's everyone feeling this morning? Excited, great, fresh, good. I like fresh. All right, so that hopefully that means everyone got some good rest. Yesterday we had a long and full day yesterday. We have another wonderful packed day today as well, with all things related to conscious living and leading. I'm also curious, how many of you were there yesterday as well and are back today? Say me in the chat if you were there yesterday too. Wow, amazing. I love it. Great, excellent. So glad to have you back. All right, I'm going to begin with a very serious question. How many monks does it take to change a light bulb? How many monks does it take to change a light bulb? Okay, good answer. The answer is we don't know, because so far all the monks we've asked said we must fully accept the light bulb for what it is and not try and change it. All right. And I'm actually going to take full credit for that joke, because, and maybe even copyright it, because I thought of it this morning when I was thinking about what can I begin with today, since we talk so much about acceptance in our programs, as many of you know. All right, jokes aside, I want to begin with a simple Zen story around compassion, because as many of you know, that is one of the core values of living and leading consciously. And it's also a key message that we're trying to spread through this summit as well. So, a spiritual master was training a Zen student and found that the student was always complaining. And so one morning, the master said to the student, "Why don't you go get some salt?" When the student returned, the master asked the unhappy young man to put a handful of salt in a glass of water and then to drink it. "How does it taste?" the master asked. "Bitter," said the student. The master chuckled. The two then walked in silence to the nearby lake. The master again asked, "Now put the same handful of salt in the water." The student did exactly as he was told. "Now drink from the lake and tell me, how does the water taste?" "Fresh," said the student. "Now do you taste the salt?" asked the master. "No," said the young man. So the idea is, when we only identify with ourselves and our pain and our troubles are all we can see and all we are concerned with, it almost feels unbearable. But when we expand our identity and feel a oneness with everyone around, you realize we're all in this together. And together we can figure out this thing called life. So, speaking of compassion, it is my distinct honor to welcome our keynote for today, someone who has dedicated her whole life to uplifting the lives of women everywhere, which is why we were so delighted to have her with us here this morning to share her journey of living compassionately with all of you. Please join me in welcoming Kanta Singh. I'm going to take a moment to formally introduce her. She has over 25 years of experience in the management of pro-women development programs. She's worked with national and international organizations to promote women in practically every sphere imaginable, from helping women become more economically powerful to sports to politics. Kanta's last assignment was with the UNDP, where she spent 9 years, and currently she is the deputy representative with UN Women India. She's a former national level volleyball player and is a Shevning Gurukul Fellow from the University of Oxford. Kanta, we're so glad to have you with us this morning.
Thank you. I'm really delighted to be here this morning. Morning, everyone.
Kanta, once again, very good morning. So lovely to have you with us here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
I'm going to begin with something you heard say the last time I spoke, and I thought it was so beautiful. You said, and you were paraphrasing Michelle Obama, who said this first, that girls with dreams go on to become women with vision. And I'd love to begin with having you share your personal journey. How did you go from a young girl with many, many dreams to becoming the woman with such a strong vision that you have today?
Thank you. In fact, I didn't want you to stop, Bhavna. You were speaking so beautifully. Actually, my voice and my journey would not sound that interesting. I really wanted to hear you and listen to you and learn from you. But thank you. When I read about this, I would say a quote or sentence that Michelle Obama said, I really thought that really depicts my journey. I may not, or you may not relate to what I'm going to tell you now, but I started my journey from a village in Haryana. And coming from where I'm coming, Bhavna, it really looks like a dream. But my life has been all about dreams and all about story. When I was young, I lost my father when I was 4. Was an army, and then my mom had to raise all of us. Education was an option for girls. It wasn't really compulsory or mandatory that all girls will study in the village that I was in. Anyways, I studied, started playing sports, doing very well in school. And it is because of sports that I got admission into one of the best universities in India. That was Haryana Agricultural University. It was very technically sound institution with for students from 40 countries, because all agricultural universities have tie-up with countries like Fiji, Mauritius, Caribbean countries. So I studied with those young people and continued to play, got scholarship. But one thing that I distinctly remember, when I was 8 or 9 years old, we were in our farms or fields. My brother, who was older to me, he was studying from his social sciences book about United Nations. And in Hindi, they call Sanyukt Rashtra Sangh. And I asked him, I said, what is this? And he said, ye to world peace ke liye bana hai. And in my own imagination, what he was describing, I was thinking in my head that I have to be there. And when he completed his sentence, I told him, I'm going to be there. 8-year-old, knowing nothing about how the world looks. And I just said it. And he made fun of me, saying, oh, tum pahunchogi wahan pe, tumhe pata hai kitni dur hai. And I said, yeah, let's find out. So anyways, it wasn't really bothering me that I had to reach there, but something continued ringing the bell, and I started reading about it more. I was very interested in current affairs. I was preparing for civil services, but again the UN thing continued to ring the bell. When I took sociology in master's program and got married when just before I finished my master's. Got married to an army officer, and then all the dreams were looking difficult to achieve because he was posted in Kashmir, and there was no way I could go back to either preparing for civil services or think of UN. Life was slightly tough for me because I thought in my head, because I was a star doing very well, topped the university at graduation, post-graduation level, and then was doing very well in sports. And there I was a housewife. So when I talk about women's economic empowerment, Bhavna, I know how it feels to be not earning your own money. Even though it was a scholarship earlier, it was my money. And then I became totally dependent on my husband, who was very kind. And I don't want to just say my husband very nice and he supported me and this and that. In my head, it was very hurtful that I had to ask for money. And it continued to bother me. So from that day onwards, one story that I want to tell everyone is that earn your own money, whatever your passion is. It's उसको बोलते हैं ना, जिल्लत होती है पैसा मांगने में, तो जिल्लत महसूस होती है. So one has to earn, particularly women have to earn their own money if they want a seat on the table. That's one thing that is very important. So, and then I continued going with him, had children. Wherever he went, I went with him. But वही बात है, वो घंटी बजती रही. And at one stage, then when I came back to Delhi and my husband went to Cambodia, I came to Delhi and I started working part-time because the girls were very young. They were 1 year and 5 years. So I started doing part-time work. Basically started with transcription to translation to social research to writing papers to. And फिर थोड़ा सा जान आए कि शायद पहुंच सकते हैं कभी. Anyways, long story short is that it took me 20 years, almost 18 years. At the age of 47, I got a job in UN. And again, I'm going back to where I'm coming from. It's almost impossible to find a job in UN with my kind of background because they don't take people from rural areas, and because the requirement is such. It's not that they don't take, there's any bias against people like us, but because we don't have the right skills. But because I continued building my skills as the dream was to reach there, I think it helped. Also, during my interview, the top boss, the fourth interview, he said, "Why are you so hell-bent, and what happens if I don't take you?" That was just before signing my contract. And I said, even if I have to come as a guard here, one day I'll definitely be here. So he said, okay, here I signed. Anyways, luckily I didn't know what positions I was applying for. I got a good job just because of hard work. Probably I was applying for all kinds of jobs which were not suitable for me. But finally, when I got it, it was the right job. And from there onwards, that was my last dream, Bhavna. That day, standing in the UN office, I promised myself from now onwards, I'm not going to have any dream for myself. Everything that I'm going to do there onwards, it is going to help other girls and women realize their dreams. And I have stayed truthful to that promise to myself. I really don't have any personal agenda now. Not that I have reached somewhere. For many of us sitting here in this room would think, what kind of a small dream is that? But for me, that was a big dream. It was almost impossible. So yeah, don't laugh at anybody with small or big dreams because it matters to that person, right? And now, like you said, each girl, each woman at one person at a time, one woman at a time. My promise to myself is that I don't have to have lofty dreams of impacting thousands of women, though my mandate says that, and I'm doing that. But personally, for me, every girl matters and every woman matters. So that's the story of my dreams. And I think that has helped me. The journey has helped me realize that each one of us has the power to change the world the way we want to change it. And so let's not underestimate our own story. Just one last thought, that when I keep talking to young people and their teachers and their mentors, many times we fail to share our own stories with them. The teachers who taught us had more difficult journeys because they didn't have a choice to hire maids or get support from outside. They were doing everything. They were also walking 5 kilometers to take a bus and reach the school. Yet they don't share their stories to young girls because maybe they're embarrassed, maybe they don't want to share personal things, whereas they can influence young women to say, I have crossed this path. I know how difficult it is. Now it is much easier in that sense, in physical sense, and it's possible to do it. I think each one of us has to start sharing our own stories without feeling embarrassed about it. But also the difficulties that we have faced, because who knows, it might get stuck with somebody and it can change her life. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your inspirational story, because I think your story is really one of determination and not giving up, which I really want to emphasize, because I see here the women that have gathered as part of this Conscious Women Summit, and I'm also reading some of the comments, how so many women are sharing they do have these dreams and they're still on the path to realizing these dreams. There's so much hope we take from you, that you didn't give up on your dreams, and even if it took 47 years, you made it happen. You walked into the doors of the United Nations, and now you have such a beautiful and powerful mandate. And one, you are living so beautifully to serve other women. Such a beautiful, compassionate vision that you have now. On that note, I would love for you to share with us what, as you are realizing now this beautiful vision that you have for others, how is that journey going for you, and what is helping you take those courageous steps one after another to move this vision forward? Because I imagine it is not easy. You have to deal with a variety of stakeholders. You have to influence a lot of people to get behind you, behind this vision. So what is helping you move this vision forward?
Thank you, Bhavna. I'll go back to what you said, compassion. Anybody who joins the development sector, or anybody who works the way you are working to empower other women, the first requirement is to be compassionate. We cannot start judging others, particularly women, who say, oh, she put a case against this man on sexual harassment, this and that. I'm saying we have to listen to the women. If somebody has come out and said, I face sexual harassment at workplace, we can't just dismiss her. Minimum we can do is to listen to her. And we keep coming, across cases every day of domestic violence or sexual harassment or difficulties at home or not having money to start your business. If I can't do much, at least I listen to her. So compassion is the first requirement that each one of us. In my case, I have also been blessed with a great brand name organization where I don't have to knock at the doors. The doors open when I say, I want to come and meet. If I talk to a secretary, he listens or she listens. They don't dismiss us like this. And that's not because of who I am, but because of the organization that I work with. Thirdly, every day when you talk to women, and I do talk to a lot of women on daily basis without, having any official agenda, I understand how women are struggling. And then you realize how fortunate we are that we are sitting just in my office and I'm just talking to that woman. And why did she think that she can talk to me and probably can find help? You already feel at a level where probably you can help. It's a mindset. instead of taking that as a burden, I really take that as an opportunity, because if at this stage I can't help anyone, then God save me. I have no excuse to say I cannot be of any help. So I convince myself that probably, I don't know by whose blessings I'm sitting here, I have no business to be telling any woman that I can't help. Minimum, I say, I can't give you a job, but I can tell you how to apply so that you don't make the mistakes that I made. I applied for 10 years and the applications went in black hole because I was applying for wrong jobs where my skills didn't match. So minimum I do is to talk to them, listen to them, explain to them what I know. And that much work I do on daily basis. Of course, the official work is humongous. We do a lot of work with women's political empowerment. We work with women's economic empowerment. Of course, our kind of women are very rural, very marginalized, tribal women, SC, ST women, those category of women, segment of women where we have to start giving them or helping them realize their basic rights. But we also work with women who are probably listening to me today to help them get access to government schemes if they want to start their businesses or get them finance. And so we also have a lot of work with urban women who are trying to find their own place in the world.
And thank you for doing all this work, because it is very, very important. And one thing we really believe in Shenomics, to also echo what you said, given the enormity of the work that has to be done, we have to work on this together. As individually, there's only so much we can do. So I really love that you emphasized all of us showing up with compassion, because certainly all the women who've gathered here, we do come from a place of privilege. We can do a lot, which is why in our programs, we do have this thing called the Compassion Project, where we encourage people to pay it forward, because wherever we are, every single one of us can do something to pay it forward. I'd love to hear some thoughts and advice from you on what would you say to all the wonderful women who've gathered here today. How can we collectively become stronger and help the kind of goals and projects you're working on to uplift all women?
Absolutely. So thank you, Bhavna. I think each one of us has some special skill that we can share with other people. And start looking around you. Don't have to go outside to look for people who you can help. Your maid, your Barbie, your sister. So first thing I think, and I started from my home, that I have 4 Bhabis. And I never till date have allowed my brothers to shout at them in my presence. As a young girl also, I always stood by the women. I don't know, maybe it was the instinct, maybe I felt that we are not getting the due on. So I started, staying truthful to the cause, even as a young girl, because I wasn't happy with the way women were treated at home. So my sisters-in-law, they really like the way I allow them to express and tell my brothers not to kind of be unkind to them. So stay, and again, the maids and stuff, each one of us are helping other women. But again, invest in young girls. All of you are young, I know, younger than me. But my point is, and that's my motto, that I want to invest in young women. Women who were struggling for our rights. We are working for your rights, and now you have to start working for the girls who are young now or younger than you. 50 years from now, we don't want to deal with the same issues that we have been dealing with. You want to see a better world for women, particularly in terms of economic empowerment, political representation, in terms of access to decision making. I think those things are very important to me personally, and I think all of us need to work hard to make sure that they don't face the same problems. And that's how it is very important to invest in young women. If you get time, go and speak to girls in school. If you get time, go to ITIs and polytechnics and colleges in rural areas or tier 2, tier 3 cities. What you know, probably they are dying to hear. So even if you take out 2 days in a month, or 1 day in a month, or 1 day in 3 months, I think that'll be important. We did a very interesting project with women from the corporate sector, not women from corporate sector, they were leaders in their own right in the corporate sector in Delhi ITIs. And you'll be surprised to know that Delhi ITIs, even the one in Hoj Khas, has never had a job fair. Boys ITIs have been adopted by big corporate houses, but girls, nobody takes care of their employment. They are studying courses which are 50-year-old. So some of you, so we started this program by bringing mentors from corporate world, from Nestle to Microsoft to Google to PepsiCo and big companies. And this was the first time these leaders from the corporate sector knew what kind of difficulties these young girls face. So the best suggestion that I can think of is that go and meet some of these girls in these institutions. You'll be surprised how powerful your voice is to them and how much they will value every word that you will say. Because nobody interacts with them. Nobody invests in their dreams. And starting from home, because we are preparing our daughters for marriage. We are not preparing them for work. Boys are prepared for work or careers. Girls, the ultimate aim is to get married. So these young girls say, yes, ma'am, I'm doing ITI now. My parents are thinking of getting me married. She's 18 or 19. 40% of the girls, married girls, are still married before 18 years of age. So there's a lot, whatever issue or whatever cause is close to your heart. I'm no one to decide what you should do, but I'm just saying whatever you like to do. If you like to speak to young girls, please speak to them. If you like to really help them in terms of getting them jobs or getting them opportunities or getting them education, do that. If you don't want to go out and you want to spend money, please support 2 girls and their education. And don't go very far, you'll find them everywhere. Even speaking kindly to a woman, asking her, what is her dream? What does she want to become? Maybe you will be the first one to ask her that. So just think of that powerful tool in your hands. I have been thinking, and I have, as I said, I have done many things which I used to think could empower me. For example, mobility for women. So young girls are not able to go to work because public transport is not either safe or it's expensive or not reliable. So I wanted, first time when I drove the 2-wheeler, the breeze in your head or in your hair is so powerful that it gives you the feeling of empowerment. And to me, that was the biggest source of empowerment. So I, as a young woman, I used to think that if we can make all women ride 2-wheelers, cycle or 2-wheeler, it'll be so good for them. So when I had a chance, I worked with Hero Motocorp. We trained 7,000 girls to learn 2-wheelers. It was my dream for those girls, but I made it happen for them, and I felt really good. That if a small request from my side, I was not asking anything for myself, and Hero Motocorp really respected that decision. We invested a lot of money and time, but 7,000 women got trained, and the project, because of COVID, it got affected, but it's going to come back. So I'm saying, whatever you feel strongly about, if you think this decision makes me powerful, this decision make me empowered, and try doing it to others, right? My education is making me a strong person, or my income is making me a strong person. Try helping other people do it. Ask them. I was also thinking that you have TED Talks. If we can go around the country, have women, not women, girls, young girls come and speak about their dreams. Just TED-like platform saying, what would they like to do? That'll be so powerful. Many of them will speak for the first time. Many of them will share their dreams for the first time. They'll tell their stories for the first time. It may not be as beautifully crafted as TED Talks are, but it'll be very, very powerful. So some of you, if you can do it in your area or your area of influence, I think just see the power of that. If 10 girls come out of that, you've done your job for the world. I mean, again, I am not very ambitious that I will change the whole world, but I'll definitely continue to do something that it doesn't go back. It continues to be better.
Thank you so much. You have actually left us with so many ideas because these are all doable. I think to your point, we can all start where we are. Start with thinking about what is a unique way in which I can give back. What is a strength that I already have? What is an interest that I already have that I can leverage? What are the connections I already have that I can leverage to pay it forward to young girls? So thank you so much. Such beautiful ideas. I see there are a lot of requests to connect with you.
Sure.
Who want to connect with you. So
please do share my number and my email ID.
Yes.
So we'll be happy to do whatever. If we, I also say, I mean, who are we to do anything for anyone? I just see that going forward, 3 things are going to be very important. One is, of course, communication. Like we are communicating now, we are connecting to each other, and we probably will get a chance to work together. Also collaborate. You mentioned that we can't do everything alone. So I work with many stakeholders, starting with the government, where we are trying to influence policies, but we also work with civil society organizations. We have a huge partnership with private sector, where we are trying to sensitize them on hiring more women, retaining them, bringing them into leadership positions, having more women on boards. So a bigger partnership at private sector level is always welcome. And many of you who are working in private sector, please find a way to engage your leaders to also talk on these issues. We also work a lot with young women, as I said, but more importantly, it's the idea of collaboration. So communication, collaboration, and community. Who are we working for? We are working for the community. So also thinking of social impact, thinking of climate change, thinking of welfare of people should be at the center of what you do. So these 3 things are always going to be important going forward. So the nature of jobs might change, the skill sets that you require may change, but these 3 things are always going to be important. So I think all of us need to work together, probably think together, and find a way to also connect. So please feel free to give my number and email ID to anybody who wants.
Great. Thank you so much. We have done that. We have shared your email address and LinkedIn profile with everyone. I think you really, truly inspired everyone today with such beautiful ideas. And your life itself is a message. I remember, I believe it was Mahatma Gandhi who said, "My life is my message." And just listening to your story, that those same ideas, that same thought came to my mind, that your life itself is such a message, powerful message to girls, women everywhere, to hold on to your dreams as long as it takes, because one day it will turn into a vision, and then to help other girls and other women with dreams, helping them realize that vision as well as you are doing. So we thank you for joining us this morning and wish you all the best on your mission. And we hope many of us can join you in moving that forward.
Thank you so very much. And please keep sharing your dreams, because maybe your dream can inspire somebody else. I'm saying just talk to other women, support them, listen to them. And don't dismiss their problems, that she's just making it up or she's doing a drama. Never, ever. Also, don't believe that women are women's enemy, as they always say. We are not, because look how we are talking. We are not, unless there's a power center, a man in between whose attention we are trying to draw, and actually it's not worth it, to be honest. So let's find power within, and let's not pull each other down. I think this is what we require going forward. And that's it. Thank you so very much for having me here today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhavna. What a pleasure. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks.